Thabo Bester, a name synonymous with deception and terror, a name that sends chills down the spines of South Africans, a name that has become a symbol of fear and distrust. He was a con man, a rapist, and a murderer. His criminal activities were as varied as they were horrifying. His crimes, as shocking as they were brazen, left an indelible scar on the nation's psyche. The headlines screamed of his atrocities, painting a grim picture of his reign of terror. Bester earned his chilling moniker, the Facebook Rapist, by luring unsuspecting women through the social media platform. He used the guise of charm and opportunity to ensnare his victims. He promised them modeling contracts, a chance at stardom, and a life of glamour. These promises were nothing but a cruel trick, a facade to trap his victims. But these promises were a facade, a cruel trick to trap his victims. His crimes escalated from deception to violence, leaving a trail of broken lives in his wake. He raped and robbed numerous women, each attack more brutal than the last. The emotional and physical scars he left behind were deep and lasting. His brutality knew no bounds. He was a predator who thrived on the pain and suffering of others. His victims, forever scarred, lived with the trauma of his actions. Support groups and therapy sessions became a lifeline for many as they struggled to rebuild their shattered lives. In 2012, Bester added murder to his list of heinous crimes. The nation was shocked once again as the news broke. He stabbed his girlfriend, Nomfusi Pindle, to death in a hotel room. The evidence was overwhelming, and the brutality of the crime was beyond comprehension. Bester was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The courtroom echoed with the sound of the gavel, a symbol of justice finally being served. Justice, it seemed, had been served, but for the victims and their families, the scars remained. The story of Thabo Bester is a grim reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind a charming facade. Bester's life behind bars, however, was far from ordinary. Unlike most inmates, he thrived in the prison environment, using his cunning and charm to manipulate those around him. Rumors of his manipulative behavior swirled through the prison corridors, creating an atmosphere thick with suspicion and intrigue. He was known to charm prison staff, often getting special privileges that other inmates could only dream of. His friendly demeanor masked a much darker intent. He even managed to run businesses from his cell, orchestrating deals and making connections with the outside world. His influence extended far beyond the prison walls. In 2022, news broke that shook South Africa to its core. Thabo Bester was dead. The announcement sent shockwaves through the nation. The authorities reported that he had died in a fire in his prison cell, a tragic end to a notorious criminal. The details were sparse, but the news was enough to make headlines. The nation breathed a collective sigh of relief. The monster was gone. Families of his victims felt a sense of closure, believing justice had finally been served. But whispers of doubt soon emerged. People began to question the official story, wondering if there was more to the tale than met the eye. Some questioned the circumstances of Bester's death, pointing out inconsistencies and raising suspicions about the true nature of the incident. His charred remains, they argued, didn't tell the whole story. Was it really him? The forensic evidence left many unanswered questions. The authorities, however, remained steadfast. Bester was dead, case closed. Yet, the lingering doubts and unanswered questions left a trail of deception that would haunt the nation for years to come. As months passed, the whispers of doubt grew louder. People began to question the official story, their suspicions growing with each passing day. The air was thick with rumors and speculation. Investigative journalists, sensing a cover-up, began digging deeper. They pored over documents, interviewed sources, and followed every lead, no matter how small. Their determination was unwavering. What they unearthed sent shockwaves through South Africa. Thabo Bester was alive. The revelation was nothing short of explosive, shaking the very foundations of the narrative that had been accepted as truth. The fire, it turned out, was no accident. It was a meticulously planned event, designed to deceive everyone. The flames were meant to erase all evidence. It was a carefully orchestrated ruse. Every detail had been thought out, every contingency planned for. The level of planning was astonishing. Bester, with the help of accomplices both inside and outside the prison walls, had staged his own death. The network of people involved was extensive, each playing a crucial role in the deception. The charred remains in his cell, not Bester's. They were a decoy, meant to mislead the authorities and the public. An autopsy revealed they belonged to another man. The forensic evidence was clear, leaving no doubt about the true identity of the remains. Bester had used the body to fake his death and escape. The plan was bold, almost unbelievable in its audacity. The audacity of his plan was staggering. It was a masterstroke of criminal ingenuity, executed with precision. South Africa was in disbelief. The nation was left reeling, struggling to come to terms with the reality of what had happened. The story of Thabo Bester's staged death would be remembered for years to come. Bester, now a fugitive, lived a life of luxury while on the run. He assumed a new identity. He traveled freely, even attending business conferences. His audacity knew no bounds. Meanwhile, the authorities scrambled to piece together the puzzle of his escape. They launched a nationwide manhunt. The pressure mounted as public outrage grew. How could a convicted murderer, a man deemed so dangerous, simply vanish into thin air? Section 5. Cracks in the facade. As the investigation deepened, cracks began to appear in Bester's carefully constructed facade. His lavish lifestyle raised red flags. Witnesses came forward, the net was closing in. Journalists played a pivotal role in exposing the truth. They followed leads, interviewed sources, and published damning reports that kept the pressure on the authorities. Bester's days of freedom were numbered. Section 6. Captured, the net closes in. In a dramatic turn of events, Thabo Bester was apprehended in Tanzania. He was captured alongside his lover, Nandifa Magudumana, a celebrity doctor who had allegedly aided his escape. The long arm of the law had finally caught up with him. News of Bester's capture spread like wildfire. Relief, tinged with anger, swept across South Africa. The brazenness of his escape, the ease with which he had manipulated the system, left a nation reeling. Section 7. Systemic failures laid bare. Bester's escape exposed a deeply troubling reality. The South African prison system, riddled with corruption and negligence, had failed spectacularly. The ease with which Bester orchestrated his escape pointed to a systemic breakdown. Investigations revealed a web of complicity. Prison guards had been bribed, officials had turned a blind eye. The very institutions tasked with upholding justice had become tools for criminals. Section 8. Justice delayed, justice denied. Bester's case became a lightning rod for public anger. Protests erupted across the country. People demanded accountability. They wanted answers. How could this have happened? The government vowed to investigate. Heads would roll, they promised. But for many, these promises rang hollow. They had heard it all before. The trust, once broken, was not easily repaired. Section 9. A legacy of distrust. Thabo Bester's story is more than just a true crime thriller. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of justice. It is a story of betrayal, of a system designed to protect that ultimately failed. Bester's escape left an indelible scar on the South African psyche. It eroded public trust in the justice system. It highlighted the deep-seated corruption that continues to plague the nation. This is a story that will continue to haunt South Africa for years to come.